Hello and welcome to a special ICC program that features a one-time induction of 10 great players into the ICC Hall of Fame to coincide with the first ever final of the World Test Championship in England in June 2021. This is a celebration of these players who have made a significant contribution to Test cricket in the history of Test cricket and during 5 specifically selected time periods. Now, we're going to go back a long way to the early cricket era, pre-1918, the interwar era, 1918 and 1945, the post-war period from 1946 to 1970, moving on then to the ODI era, 1971 to 1995, and finishing with the modern cricket era, 96 to 2016. We're going to be in the company of VIPs, and we're going to be looking at these 10 inductees into this special edition. So let's firstly introduce you to two of our VIPs who will be joining us throughout this program. Lisa Starlaker, a recent inductee into the ICC Hall of Fame, and Lawrence Booth, the leading cricket and sports writer in England and editor of the Wisden Almanac. Lisa, for you, as a recent inductee into the ICC Hall of Fame, what does it mean, having had a career in cricket and then to be recognised into the ICC Hall of Fame?
Well, firstly, it's a great privilege. When you first take up the game, you play for the love of it. You want to do well for your country. And then you've got an ability to win trophies, win series. But the main thing is that you never kind of think about these individual awards. So to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, it's extremely special.
And Lawrence, for you, and of course you've been with Wisden for many years now, for the modern player, how important is it for the youngsters or young players to know the history and to know who the great players have been in our sport?
Well, I think the poet John Donne said, "No man is an island," and I think that applies to Test cricket. It's a grand historical continuum. If you know about the past, you may be more likely to enjoy the present. Lots of Test teams now put a number on the Test cap that's awarded. You are number 675 to play for England, so you're reminded of your place in the overall scheme. And I think it goes beyond sort of creating a family and a cricket family and nostalgia. We often talk about, is this the best batsman since Bradman, or can England find the new Ian Botham? You know, these discussions are always placed in a historical context. You may be inspired by a previous player. You may learn about the first guy who bowled a googly back in the first decade of the 20th century and decide that that's what you want to do too. So I think it always helps to know that others have gone before you and that you can follow in their footsteps.
We're going to move on now to our final period of cricket. This is, of course, the modern cricket era from 1996 to 2016, and our introduction to our 2 inductees. Two giants of the game, both wicketkeeper batsmen, both left-handers, and the records just flow. This would be a different program, another program, just to go through their stats. But Kumar Sangakkara is in London, and in Abu Dhabi we have Andy Flower. Going to come to you first, Andy. Just reading about you, the word patient, I don't know, just came up with me that you exuded patience, because my word, you batted for hours and hours and hours. What was key for you in your career?
I'm not sure some of the players I've worked with would echo those words about patience in my role as a coach these days. But I suppose it was part of Test batting at that time, and still is, that you've got to choose your risk and reward decisions wisely, and I always viewed myself as less physically talented than a lot of the guys that were playing the game at the time, and I thought that my decision making and my patience and I suppose a level of grittiness when you're out there fighting for your country was really important. And I suppose perhaps that's why people might regard patience as being part of my batting makeup.
Sanga, let's come to you because, I mean, we talk about batting a long time. You were involved with that ridiculous partnership of 624 with your good friend Mahela Jayawardena. What drove you on to bat for so long, for so many, 11 scores over 200? I know your highest score was 319, but you and Andy Flower with 232 not out was the highest score for a wicketkeeper in Test cricket. You got the 230. But what drove you on, essentially, with the bat in your hand?
I hated fielding. I loved batting, Wilco. That would be the best way to describe it, and it'll be very, very true. Much like Andy and what Andy said, when I played Test cricket, even though it was not too long ago when I first started, it was a lot about patience, batting long, grinding the opposition down, and making bowlers bowl long spells. I slowly graduated from that, of course, to batting to score runs, and that kind of freed up my fatigue issues around trying to bat long. But I think when you get that experience of training really well, training with a plan, and then taking that into a game, you find a method that works for yourself. And then once you have that method, you add or take away from it at training, and you change with conditions, with opposition, and the stage of your career, and you basically rinse and repeat that, and that really worked well for me.
Thanks very much, Andy and Kumar Sangakkara, our latest inductees into this special edition. Looking back in time, of course, you are from the modern era. So let me thank you both for your time. I know you're busy people. Lisa Starlaker, you were always as interesting with your comments and your research. Lovely, and thanks to you. And also Lawrence Booth, our editor of Wisdom. Great stuff from you, Lawrence. I look forward to seeing you during what will be a very busy English or British summer. So thanks everyone. Thanks all for your contributions, and congratulations, Kumar, and to Andy. So just to summarize this special ICC program, looking back on the different eras of cricket, the 10 new inductees, going back to the early era, pre-war, Aubrey Faulkner of South Africa, Australia's Monty Noble. From the interwar era, Sir Leary Constantine of the West Indies, Stan McCabe of Australia. The post-war cricket era, England's Ted Dexter and Vinu Mankad from India. From the ODI era, Desmond Haynes of the West Indies and England's Bob Willis. And from the modern era, Andy Flower, Zimbabwe, and Kumar Sangakkara of Sri Lanka. 10 great players who have been inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame to coincide with the first ever, the inaugural final of the World Test Championship for 2021. Hope you've enjoyed this special edition. Till the next time, it's goodbye.